What a way to end 2023 for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Ilya Samsonov winds up on waivers. What's going on? It's Nick Alberga, presented by Betano for a quick hitter. And with me today is Dave Pagnotta, the fourth period at SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. How's it going, buddy?
Pretty good, pretty good. A little better than Ilya Samsonov right now.
Yes. There's so many ways to uncover this whole situation. First and foremost, how stunned you know that they came to this decision are you?
Not really. They've been exploring the market. They've been trying to figure out what the price tag is for a goaltender, a stopgap guy that can come in until Joe Wall gets back. The price tags just didn't didn't scratch their itch. So what other options do you have? Well, you send a message potentially by sending Ilya Samsonov down, let him play more games, let him build up some confidence potentially, and go from there. Hildeby's likely going to be called up tomorrow on the first, assuming that Samsonov clears and does get sent down. So they'll roll with him and Martin Jones in that West Coast swing, and then I guess go from there. But, Nick, they've looked around. Treliving was exploring the market. They just never really had an appetite to pay a decent enough price in order to get a goalie, and they don't have a ton of cap space. So anybody that's going to come in here with a little bit of cap, that's a significant enough number to go against the cap, they're going to have to send somebody out. So it was a complicated situation that really they didn't have enough time to get through, and they didn't like the market anyway.
Yeah, to me, this is the only logical resolution. The numbers speak for themselves. 15 appearances, 3.9, 862, one shutout, 25 goals surrendered in the past 6 appearances. And we're at a point where it's like you can't throw Samsonov out there because he's really, really costing the team, and he was costing them points, of course, in the standings. I guess the biggest question in Leafs Nation, so he goes on waivers. What are the chances, in your opinion, this guy actually gets claimed here?
None. Zero.
Zero.
Less than Jack Campbell when he was put on waivers.
Okay.
From the Oilers. I mean, the guy's last or second last in the league in save percentage. His confidence is shot. You saw that after the game when he got pulled. Against Buffalo, actually, it was the game he got pulled, and he went by after he put his stick down and just kind of put his head down and just kind of tried to collect his thoughts. You knew right then and there he was battling his inner demons. All goalies go through something like this. Some are a little more extreme. He's on the extreme end. And that's what they knew about when they signed him as a free agent last 2 off seasons ago. He was pretty solid last year. And I thought, perfectly honest, I thought he was going to be able to come in and take the reins this season. It's gone in the complete opposite direction. So you have no choice. You've got to be able to be in a position to give him an opportunity to regain some confidence, a bit of an ego, hit right now because he'll probably be sent down. Gives them a little bit of cap flexibility, about 1.2 million or something like that in additional cap space. If he does get sent down, but I mean, and this is the other thing here, Nick. If he goes down to the A and is mediocre, then you can keep him there and still keep that 1 point whatever it is cap space to utilize to either find somebody else in net if Martin Jones isn't the guy from a backup side of things, or you go look elsewhere because they've been looking for defense. They've been looking for a 3C. They got a bunch of holes on this team. It's not just the crease.
It just seems like every year, Dave, we're at an impasse this time of year where it's like, do the Leafs need a goalie? And like, here we are to start off 2024 in like 24 hours and the same shit from this team. But like, I wonder about a process, like a decision-making process for Samsonov. Is it going to be something similar to like Jack Campbell, where it's like once Samsonov proves he is good enough to take that next step and be promoted back to the NHL, then it will happen. But I think there's obviously a pathway. There has to be a pathway where it's like, we don't see this guy again for the Leafs, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, this is it. If he gets, doesn't get claimed, and again, I'm not expecting him to, that means in all likelihood, he will be sent down. He will be given chances to play. And as I said, if he's mediocre, you keep him there because what's he going to do to your team? He's not going to help you out. I mean, Jack Campbell was rough at the beginning and then started to play a little bit better for Bakersfield, but they still haven't called him up. Because they like what's going on, at least for now, in Edmonton. So maybe Toronto goes in a bit of a groove here. But as I said, look, they played 34 games. They've won 17 of those games. It's half. It's not that good. For a team with the amount of talent that they've got, it's not that great. So you want to play that in the playoffs, you're going to lose to either Florida or Tampa or whoever you're going to play in that first round all over again. going back, forget about last year. So, um, look, this team understands that they've got to send a bit of a message to the rest of the group. So this isn't just a message to Samsonov. This is also a message to the rest of the team saying we're at a breaking point here. We've got to make some drastic moves. This is step one that nobody at the beginning of the season expected. So now you'll look to see what else is there. Tree's been looking. He's exploring the market for other areas outside of the crease. And we may get to a position where if this Western swing goes rough for them, and the first test is against LA, so that's going to be a tough enough battle on the second as it is. But then you've got Anaheim, San Jose, and then you come home to play San Jose on the 9th. If you don't take all three of those games, you got to do a lot of looking in the mirror. Each one of those guys on that team. I don't care if you're Austin Matthews leading the league in goals. I don't care if you're Willie Nylander, 5th in the league in points. I don't care if you're Mitch or Tavares or whomever. Everybody needs to look in the mirror to say, how the hell can we get this on the right track? Because it's just not working.
Yeah, nothing says message sending by scratching your fourth line center who's really good on PKs and getting torched on the PK than demoting your shitty ECHL netminder. That's some message sending if I've ever. I'm being sarcastic, obviously, but lastly, I'm just trying to figure out what's happened here. Like we sort of just joked about like the goaltending situation in Toronto was always a story, hasn't been solidified in years, as we know, and we think it's Joseph Woll, but he's out long term now with the high ankle sprain. Is this a Toronto thing? Is it a Samsonov thing? Because if you do recall, like early in the season, Leafs Nation jumped off Samsonov. It's like, everybody loved him last year. Now they hated him. Is that just a Toronto thing? Like what's transpired here, Dave?
Well, it's a what have you done for me lately market.
True.
So again, like I'm saying all of this message in the mirror, sending to each other and all that stuff. Again, they're third in the division. Like the sky hasn't fallen, but it's low. And if you want to be a legit cup contender, you've got to be swinging at everything, and they're not doing that. And you need to have a balance 1 through 4 and all three deep pairings, and you don't necessarily need a top 5, top 10 elite goaltender in the National Hockey League if your decor is up to snub, but it's not. So you've got to make sure like with Vegas, Aiden Hill now has evolved into one of the top half goalies in the league, even though he's hurt right now. But that decor is ridiculous. Like you've got sequoia trees that are battling out back there to help out your goaltender, so you can deal with that. In Toronto, you don't have those options, so you've got to do it by committee. And the committee, there's just not enough there, and you got to give Brad Treliving a little bit of leeway here. But for this market, there's only so much leeway you can give before you have to make something drastic transactionally outside of a waiver situation. So I think the Leafs are going to escalate their search to make some type of addition from elsewhere, from one of the other 31 teams.
Yeah, I was going to say the leeway in this market lasts about 2 minutes. Dave, appreciate this today, and happy early New Year, okay?
You too, buddy.
The one and only Dave Pagnotta from the Fourth Period and Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page at the Leafs Nation 401. You can search Leafs Morning Take wherever you find your podcasts as well. I'm Nick Alberga for Dave Pagnotta, and we'll talk soon.